United States Senator Tom Cotton. Good morning, Senator Cotton. Good to have you.
Good grief, Hugh. You're going to return to the PolitiFact interview. It already went for a full hour.
I've got to play the parts that were masked by commercials. I got to be fair to the guy.
I think we need to. I think we need a PolitiFact fact check on your claims that the Browns are actually an NFL football team.
You know, that was a source of much derision on the internet yesterday when the Raiders announced their move. They said the last major team, city in America without a professional football team is Cleveland. Senator, let's get to the good stuff. There are more Democrats announcing they're going to filibuster Judge Gorsuch despite his commanding performance. That means that the Reid rule will either be applied or not applied depending upon Republicans. Do you expect there will be at least 50 Republican senators who will vote to apply the Reid rule to Judge Gorsuch's nomination?
Hugh, here's the bottom line. Neil Gorsuch will be confirmed to the Supreme Court, and I suspect he'll be confirmed before we break at the end of next week to spend the Easter period in our states with our constituents. I have not yet given up hope that at least 8 Democrats might come to their senses and confirm eminently reasonable, qualified jurists to the Supreme Court. However, if they filibuster a Supreme Court nominee successfully and purport to kill his nomination, which would be the first time that's ever happened in American history, then I believe the House or the Senate Republicans will do what we must to put Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court.
Secondly, is it demonstrably false to state that Obamacare is in a death spiral?
I just listened to an hour of you with that guy from PolitiFact, and it seems like it's a lot more complicated than you or I might think from his point of view. No, ultimately, Obamacare is in a death spiral, in particular on the individual market exchanges. You have continued adverse selection in which sicker people who need health insurance, who are not being well served by Obamacare's rising prices, are staying on the exchanges, and healthier people or people who can't afford the skyrocketing premiums are leaving the exchanges. That's the very definition of an insurance death spiral. That's why I think, even though the House bill was flawed, we will ultimately return to health care because Obamacare is not getting better. It's getting worse, and it's also taking down other parts of the health care system with it.
Now, I note from my position 2 alarming trends by the left. They are attempting to delegitimize the assertion that Obamacare is in a death spiral because it is a powerful way of conveying to people what is happening. And they are also attempting to plant the idea that President Trump is going to sabotage Obamacare to bring it down by, for example, canceling advertising. These are preemptive strikes on the truth, Senator Cotton. And I think really we have to fight them on the beaches or they will invade our political discourse.
Hugh, it's going to be hard for the Democrats to blame on President Trump the failure of a law called Obamacare. The American people are well aware that the Democrats passed Obamacare on a party line vote. We've had 4 straight elections now that were in no small part about Obamacare, and in 3 of those elections, Republicans had very big victories. Obamacare is not going to get better. It's not going to stabilize. It's going to continue to drive up premiums and deductibles, not only for the few million people who get their insurance to the individual market in Obamacare, but for the 175 million Americans who get their health insurance to their job as well. They're not going to look at Republicans, not a single one of whom voted for Obamacare, to blame for that. Now, they will look at both parties and everyone in Congress and the president to try to solve that problem, which is why I think we ultimately will return to health care and solve the problem. But there's no doubt that the Democrats are responsible for the state of our health insurance system today.
Now, Senator Cotton, Lauren Thompson, very, very well-respected defense analyst, wrote in Forbes on March 25th a column, the headline of which, he may not have written the headline, but the headline says, Mulvaney sabotaged Trump's defense spending increase. Have you read this column?
I have not read it.
Do you have any suspicion that such a thing happened?
I can't say one way or the other about the internal deliberations, Hugh. Ultimately, though, the president makes these decisions. He may have advocates on one side or another of any particular issue, and he may choose to follow his advice, but it's the president's budget. It's not Mick Mulvaney's budget or Jim Mattis's budget or anyone else. The president made a step in the right direction by increasing the top-line defense number to $603 billion. I hope that we in the Congress can find a way to add some more money this year and also much more over the 5-year defense plan.
You know, in the 5 buckets that the president ran on, the Supreme Court and judges, defense build up, the wall, health care, repair and repeal, and tax cut. The most important to me is actually the defense budget, followed by the Supreme Court. And so we have a minute. Is he going to deliver on the defense budget and the 350-ship Navy, Senator?
I do believe he'll deliver on this defense buildup, Hugh. As you say, it was a core promise he made on the campaign. It differentiated him from Hillary Clinton in the starkest possible terms, set him out as someone who was going to be a change agent versus Hillary Clinton, the embodiment of the Obama status quo with our military. And he has bipartisan support on Capitol Hill. Now, some Democrats want to see equal amounts of domestic spending, but that's hard to maintain when the commander-in-chief is making the case for increased defense spending and the urgency of it.
I hope you are right. Pray you are right, and I'm sure you are right about Judge Gorsuch. Senator Tom Cotton, always good to be joined by another PolitiFact target, which you will be by the end of the day. Thank you, Senator. I'll be right back, America.